Are you one of those people that still blame apartheid for all the things that have gone wrong in South Africa, for all the things that are bad? Are you one of those people that still go, it's apartheid, or the privileged few that caused all these hassles? Because if you are, you've lost the plot. You're on the wrong track, because we've been living in a democracy away from apartheid for over 30 years. 30 years is a really long time to sort something out or to make things better. So if you're still blaming the apartheid system for all the things that are wrong, then you just haven't worked it out. You just haven't got it into your head that we need to move forward. We all hoped, and while we were promised, but we all hoped that we would move forward and we would have a multiracial rainbow nation where everyone had equal opportunities. I remember Dr. Mandela saying, never again, never again. And you know what? It's happening again. It's happening again, just in the reverse way. At the end of the day, what we have to look at is, what was apartheid all about? What caused all this in the first place? Well, the land disputes, for example, are a big thing in this country, where nobody really knows when the settlers came here, who was where and who was on what part of which part of the land. It's not really clear, because everybody's got their own story and everybody's got their own history. So no, you didn't own the land. And on top of which, there were wars that broke out. There was the Boer Wars, there was the war against the Afrikaner and the English, there was then obviously the Zulus fighting, and all these different battles that took place in the past. And that's all in the past. It's a bit like when the Romans conquered Europe. You know, that's all in the past. It's all gone. It's forgotten. And Europe grew as an opportunity from that. And in fact, the fact that a great nation had conquered them actually made it better and actually helped that continent grow into the superpower that it became. Whereas here in Africa, what's happened is it hasn't grown. It's kind of stagnated and stopped. Now, the apartheid system was brought in by the nationalist Afrikaans government back in the day when the British colonialists gave it over to them. It gave them what they called independence, and it became a republic. And the apartheid system is basically designed that everyone to their own. In other words, this race and ethnic group will stay here, and that race and ethnic group will stay there. And the disadvantage of that system was obviously that the Afrikaner chose themselves as the privileged ones and kind of got everything for themselves, and they had all the citizenships, all the voting rights, and kind of owned the whole country. So it wasn't really a fair system. It was an oppressive system, almost like nationalism and fascism and all that sort of thing. So it didn't work out in the end, and thankfully the great F.W. de Klerk came along and he asked the people what they want back in the 90s, and we had a yes and no vote, and we voted for multiracial country, better future, rather than all this terrible oppressive system, racism we could call it, that they had. We wanted a better system and a better future. Nelson Mandela was released from jail, and so was all of his colleagues, and the ANC took over in the next vote. It was a large vote, and the country was taken over and became a democracy of South Africans, not white South Africans, not black South Africans, not colored South Africans, South Africans, a multi-racial future, which was great. The idea behind it, fantastic. Loved the idea, the land of opportunity. But for some other odd reason, the old people refused to let go, and they kept on teaching their kids how to be racist, or how to hate the other side, or, you know, why the other people were bad. And now we've got a whole bunch of racists on the left and a whole bunch of racists on the right, and the majority of us are in the middle, and the majority of us want a better country. The majority of us want a better future. We can see that in the voting. We can see that in the government of the day that we have, that we all want a far better, more improved, multiracial, equal country future. But you've still got people saying, we want the land, we're going to take the land away from you. So who exactly are you taking the land away from? Because as far as I know, everyone in this country is South African, apart from the immigrants. Let them aside. let's talk about the people that own the land. And as far as I know, most of the people that own the land are South African. So if you're saying I'm going to take the land away from you and give it to someone else, who are you giving it to? So what are you doing? Are you being racist? Are you actually saying I'm going to take it away from the white farmer and give it to a black farmer? Or what are you actually saying at the end of the day? So that is completely off the cuff. It's just wrong. You know what you're saying is that the country is once again going into this oppressive apartheid system, just in a different way. What you're saying is if you're a certain ethnic group or a certain color or a certain type of person, that you own it unfairly. You shouldn't own it. We should own it, sort of thing. Who's we? Who are those people? Because we're all South Africans at the end of the day. We all should have the equal opportunity to either own land, get a job, to be in government. I mean, I heard statements about the government the other day that gave me the cold shivers when somebody said, the government's full of white people. Yes, so what? Aren't they South Africans? Aren't they allowed to be in government? Aren't we allowed to be part of this country? Is that not what it's supposed to be all about? Or do you want it back the old way? Do you want apartheid back? Do you want to have apartheid again? Because that's what you're asking for effectively. You're saying we want this and you must have that, and that's basically what you're saying. You're not saying let's move forward and let's all be equal. But what I'm trying to say is the majority of us, the majority of the country wants a rainbow nation. The majority of the country wants a better future. And we're listening to the few on the left and the few on the right. Rather than listening to the majority, we should all stand together as South Africans and fight this rubbish. Get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. Even Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, stood up and said it's enough. I mean, he said it's got to stop. So we need to take the country forward and become a better nation as a whole. All of us, not just some of us, all of us in the middle, because we're the ones, the majority, we're the ones that are taking the pain. We're the ones that are getting hurt. We're the ones that can't get the jobs. We're the ones that are struggling. All of us. Let's turn our nation into something much better. Guys, a bit controversial, but it needs to be said. I think everybody needs to know at the end of the day that this is not on. This whole left and right wing, the story being wacky and way out there needs to stop. We need to start focusing on where we need to go and what we need to become. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to watch the next video and the last videos. Cheers and bye.